Bunyan.
No.
Bunyan?
No.
He was taller than the trees and larger than life, and he forever changed the American landscape. People remember him and his best friend, Babevthe the blue ox. Or is it Babe?
Babe.
Babevthe. As the greatest lumberjacks to ever work the forest.
Will somebody give me a drink?
What folks usually do not remember
Will
is
somebody give me a drink?
how that came to be. Paul was a very big boy, born in a very small town on the banks of the St. Lawrence River. Well, he is kind of big, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen him one time. I met him up in California. At school, Paul had to squish his way into the classroom. He was not a very good student. He was far more interested in studying his favorite things to eat. What? Mom's pancakes. Math, Paul said, is just not very tasty. The countryside grew every kind of vegetable and fruit, but Paul and Babevthe wanted pancakes. Oh, it's Babe. I'm sorry, I forgot. Paul's mom set them down for a talk. You have to start eating the food we grow. You're going to get sick if all you eat is pancakes.
What do you get me?
Ice water.
Let's see. She gave them each some broccoli, but when Paul and Babevthe tried to eat it, they spat it right out. The green things are for the rabbits. What big guys like us need are pancakes, said Paul. So Paul's mom cooked pancakes all day and all night, and her son and Babevthe greedily gobbled up each and every delicious one. Being a grown boy and ox, they could eat a lot. I just cannot keep feeding you and Babevthe all these pancakes, Mom said, panting. I have fields to tend. Paul and Babe tried to help Mom by working in the vegetable fields, but their big feet just squished and squashed everything in sight. Oh, that's not, you can't be doing that, can you? Paul and Babe's appetites had become too big, so they had to and so had they. One day they decided it was time to follow their stomachs and find their pancake fortune. Out in the great big world, so Paul hugged his mom and promised to write, and he and Babe took off into the deep, dark forest. But if you're bigger than everything in the forest, I guess it's not so scary, is it? Soon, Paul and Babe's heads were in the clouds, and their stomachs were rumbling like hungry bears. So much so, they barely heard the man who was calling to them. We've got a big problem down on the Syrup River, he yelled. I need a couple guys with big appetites to come help me out. Paul bent down and looked at him straight in the eyes. Do you have pancakes? The man laughed. We've got more pancakes than even you can eat, or my name isn't Brimstone Bill, he said. We will see about that, Paul replied. Paul,
Dun, dun,
dun, dun, dun. When they got to the river, it was a mess. A truck had rolled over and dumped its load of flour into the river, whipping up a sizable amount of batter, which had caused a log jam. Oh, the hot summer sun soon had that batter sizzling up into more pancakes than Paul and Babe had ever seen. Their dream had come true. They put on their best eating hats and went to it. They ate and ate and ate pancakes until Paul's shirt buttons popped off. When every last pancake had been eaten, the log swept down the river without a problem. Bill could not believe his eyes. Why don't you and Babe come work for me, logging the land? I'll pay you as many pancakes as you can eat. Paul and Babe enthusiastically agreed. They're going to work for pancakes.
Six.
Up and down the country, Paul and Babe tromped and stomped with Bill, from Wisconsin to California, up the Little Garlic River and down the Onion, through the Tall Wolf Country, and across the Beartooth Plateau. Paul and Babe helped log the land. Up in the land of lakes near Minnesota, it got so cold that Paul's words froze before they could even make a sound. They say you can still hear his voice in the forest there today as they thaw out. More syrup, more syrup. Freezing, Babe, more syrup. Out west, Paul and Babe tried to level the ground by filling valleys with pancake batter. When the sun came up, the ground grew hot and started to cook. Up popped a whole mountain range right in front of them. The mountains used to be bigger, but Paul and Babe were hungry and snacked on some of them because of the uneven appearance. Folks called them the Rocky Mountains. Down along the Colorado River, a stray pancake got picked up by a strong wind, and Babe took off after it. Paul tried to hold him back. He dug his heels into the ground. When Babe finally caught the pancake, he and Paul had dug a huge swath of dirt that is now called the Grand Canyon.
That's where you guys live.
Yeah, that's where we live, the Grand Canyon, and now we know how it was made. We're chasing pancakes. Chasing pancakes. But one day, Babe's bright blue glow. What? One day, Babe's bright blue glow began to fade. He was feeling sick. He just laid there, a big blue berry. Paul was worried and not feeling so good himself. Bill called a doctor to come and examine them both. The doctor said, "You seem to have been eating too many pancakes." You can eat too many pancakes?
Is it possible?
Too many pancakes. Paul explained, "That's impossible. There's no such thing as too many pancakes." The doctor explained to Paul and Babevthe that they needed to balance their diet and eat different foods.
That's where an animal caught his hat.
Oh, yeah? They needed to balance and eat different foods, or they would both become even more ill. Paul figured they had better do what the doctor said, but where could they find enough good food for both of them? Paul thought for a minute, where? Then it hit him. Home. Paul and Babevthe said their goodbyes to Bill. When they got back home, Paul's mom was mighty glad to see him, and sure enough, there was plenty of healthy food for them both. Soon, Babe turned bright blue again. "See, your mom is always right," Paul's mom said proudly. She got avocados. If she got avocados, I would have stayed home. And peppers. From that day forward, he stayed in town growing Bunyan-sized veggies and helping the townspeople and always listening to what Mom said. And, of course, eating a heap of fruit and vegetables. And that is how Paul Bunyan and his best friend Babe changed the American landscape and became the greatest lumberjacks ever. And they never ate any fluffy, delicious pancakes ever again. Never? Never, ever?
Never.
I don't know.
At least one or two.
Well, now and then they might sneak one or two. Just don't tell Mom. You've read this book before.
I'm a sneak one or two.
You've read this book before.
One or two.